This is Cara Tarot with an epic romance in the classical scale. The Anima Mundi Tarot. It's a story of a really gorgeous deck meets girl. Deck confuses girl. Deck makes girl wonder whether it's worthwhile. Deck loses girl. Will their romance return? Hi, this is Cara. This is my walkthrough of a working deck for me, the Anima Mundi Tarot. So it's not just a walkthrough, it's also how working with it has gone for me. And as you might have guessed, it's been a kind of a rocky road that we've had together, despite the fact that it's really beautiful. Lovely box with the 4 symbols. This is, according to the press, a Rider-Waite-Smith influenced deck. May the spirit of the earth guide your way. In a really beautiful box. I bought this from the artist after having bought a fake. I will admit to that. This was one of the times when, I think it was Amazon, it showed this box. It showed all the pictures of the normal deck, but when I received it, it was a flip-top box. My mind is going today. It's been a rough couple of days, I'll just say that, so please forgive me. So the normal fold-over kind of box, and it had smaller cards, slightly smaller, and all of the borders were colored, and actually I like that, but I was so turned off. And of course it didn't have a book. It had the code that you could scan to get the book, and then it didn't have actually the guidebook for this deck. So I realized right away, this was really the one that made me realize to learn about fakes. So I think that went to the Goodwill, and then I got this from Megan Wyreweden. This deck is hand-painted in acrylic paints, according to her website. Each one a separate work of art by her, and it is glorious. I'm going to start with the minor arcana. So what I thought I would do differently with this deck is go through the pips, because the pips is where this deck lost me for quite a while. I was aware that this said it was a Rider-Waite-Smith based deck. And these are kind of, now you'll see the glorious artwork, glorious. But right away, it's fairly pippy. Yes, it has landscape, and this has figures. There are some additional things, but pips have ribbons and a moon, and pips and even Tarot de Marseille decks would have this much decoration. This is a little bit more. So I'm thinking at the time I got this, because I've had this a couple years now. At the time I got this, I don't think I was reading pips well yet. I'm looking for the year on this, and I'm not finding it anywhere in the book or elsewhere. So this is where we went wrong. I was looking at this. I had not learned pips very well, and I thought, these are Tarot de Marseille pips. Not all of them, but there's just slightly more decorated. Now, if you have the Pagan Otherworlds, this amount of illustration is about the same as the Pagan Otherworlds, or this amount, where you have the pips with one element of illustration. But this is downright Tarot de Marseille. So, for a while, I was really unhappy with that aspect of the deck. Even though they're lovely, for one thing, I feel that the illustrations can be kind of presentational and cold. Especially the ones that, like this, that are just kind of pippy. For somebody expecting Rider-Waite-Smith, this is sparse. A lot of them. There are enough that are just kind of sparse, even though it has that beautiful background. So I think I kind of, after the first flush of romance, I began to question this deck, and perhaps this deck had misrepresented who it is, which made me sort of have a falling out. And it is especially the wand suit, as you see, that is more pippy. Although here we have, again, this is the 7 of Cups, and it has the elements that you would think of for Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's, again, very stark in its presentation. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to go through these side by side is you do see the differences. The Pentacles, the Earth suit, is quite lush. The Air suit is a lot of times on a dark night sky with just 1 or 2 creatures. The Cups is ocean bound, but more like ocean landscapes behind a layout of pippy cups. And then the Wands, very similar to Pagan Otherworlds. You have the symbol and a kind of spare landscape behind it. Again, symbols, spare landscape. Underwater scene behind the images. Stark black background with the bird on the swords. And a really lush image that really kind of incorporates the animal and the suit. Except one thing you might notice, a lot of these animals are just staring straight ahead. That was something else that I found cold about it. Rather than the animals being engaged in an activity, these are a little more engaged in their normal activity. We have almost like staged portraits of a lot of the animals. And to me, that took some of the life out of it. I'm saving that one for last. Okay, again, very pippy. Again, glorious background with pips in front of it. And now this, she has a proviso on her website. This deck is still available from the artist. She said she has removed the blood from this. So I'm assuming that this was just turned into whiteness here instead of having the trail of blood and around here. So we would just have the bird on the ground. I have not seen an image of this that had red blood, so I think that's what she's referring to. But she said that is a change that the new decks that she has made. I guess she had people who commented about that. And now we get to the court cards. And we retain this kind of simple background, landscape behind the image, although it starts to get more incorporated here. Same thing here, a little more incorporated. Again, kind of a portrait of an animal. These animals are more active, the knights. And of course, the Knight of Pentacles is known for not being particularly active, so that's okay. Again, the animal kind of, you know, in Rider-Waite-Smith, the queens are directional. And this is the only queen that is directional here. The rest are just kind of sitting for their portrait. And so it's lovely art, but it's not giving us as much as it could with the directionality of the animal, and the animal having some sort of activity or focus other than just looking at us. So that's something that also made this deck hard for me to read. Now here, this king he's engaged in something, and so is this one. He's engaged out here, so is this one. This one, once again, is just standing and looking at us. So that was the second part of it, that aside from it being very pippy, and I found that cold, I found this kind of still staring at us portrait kind of cold. So these were the problems that I had with the deck, and honestly I hadn't noticed that in the fake deck because I hadn't spent enough time with it, because I realized it was fake quite right away and got rid of it. So now I'm going to bring on the majors. And I kept these in order just so you can see the progression and see how it relates to other things, other Rider-Waite-Smith imagery. Again, a kind of static image that could almost be a moth pinned to a piece of paper. But it does have these other symbols that help us. The High Priestess flying towards us, but again, flying towards us with this. But that is in keeping with the High Priestess, who is looking, in the Rider-Waite-Smith, is looking directly at us. And we do have pomegranates here. The Empress. The Emperor. Again, standing and just looking out at us. They do appear to be engaged with each other. The Chariot is moving forward, definitely. Strength, perverse, a really perverse strength, but boy, is it true. Ticks. The Hermit. And you notice the reflection of the way the water suit is done in this. Again, sitting and looking at us. Justice often is not directly looking at us. Beautiful, beautiful spider. Hanged Man. Death with this regeneration of shedding its skin. Temperance. I believe this is the only human in this deck, so that's important. And it's obviously here equated with the Pentacles suit, the Tower. Again, these are really gorgeous, gorgeous imagery, gorgeous paintings. Love that moon. But again, as with the classic, it doesn't give us any of the additional information that a traditional representation of the moon gives us. And some of that has to do with her her springboard of the idea of this deck, of it being the world's soul, possessive world's soul. So, or the soul of the world, Anima Mundi. So that we're getting less of other symbols and just more of nature scenes. The sun, we still have the horse, the white horse. Odd sun, no, in a nighttime sky. Interesting. Judgment is the falcon, and that this gives us some room for interpretation. Is this falcon diving or is it falling? And this beautiful, lush world card. So we had a bit of a falling out, and between the static animals and the pippiness of it, I set it aside for quite a while, and every time I went a while and didn't look at it, I thought, I'm just going to get rid of it. And then when I opened it up and looked at it, like, oh, but I love this artwork. I had kind of decided I was just going to go ahead and keep it for the artwork. And just as a collector's deck, I don't think I don't have a numbered card, but I did get this directly from the artist, from her website. And then I thought, oh no, I'm gonna sell it on. I'm not working with it. I'm not enjoying it. And then I had an epiphany, and it's probably because by that point, I had the Pagan Otherworlds, and I had been working with the Pagan Otherworlds, and I had, been listening to discussions of the Pagan Otherworlds as a hybrid deck, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. Let me work with this thinking of it as a hybrid deck instead of trying to think that it's supposed to be traditional Rider-Waite-Smith or something near it. And that solved the issue. As soon as and by that time I was also reading Tarot de Marseille, which I never thought I would do. So it completely changed my viewpoint about this deck. Suddenly this deck opened up for me. And in addition to appreciating the gorgeous artwork, then it helped me find a connection to this deck and work with it. I still have some issue with the static portrait representations. See, like here, this creature is fully engaged and doing its own thing, but the portrait representations don't speak to me as much as other things. But it is one of the reasons, like, I get it from the artist because I want to support the artist, and I like their artwork, and so I did all of that in getting it, and now I have found my way into it. So, and it certainly is a deck I can take out and that people enjoy when I do readings for them with this deck because it is so lovely. I'll go through the book a little bit for you here. She has several spreads. And then about half page where she details what the animal is, basics about the card itself, and sometimes the animal, excuse me, and that you have the same amount on every card, pretty much. So a little bit less on the minors. And so I thought before I go, before I finish up, I will do my traditional Arcana Battle. Let me shuffle these a little bit more. Again, the Arcana Battle is just, you put down 2 cards, you're responding more to the image than to the meaning of the card. So it's really supposed to be a very quick response to the image in the card. Keep the one that you like, take away the one you like least until you end up with 1 card or 2. And I usually keep 2 so that I have a little mini reading. So here we go with the Arcana Battle. I'm sorry. It's a very well realized tick. Tough. Okay. So my soul card is the Emperor, and I do like this depiction of the Emperor as just this magnificent pine. And then the Temperance, I have to look this up because I think it's supposed to be a lily, but I'm not recognizing it as a lily. Oh no, it's an azalea. That makes sense to me now. An azalea family, the rhododendron blossom. And I'll just read, since I'll read what the book says so you know what her book says about this. Now, nowhere does it say that there's a different author of the book, so I'm assuming that the book itself is also by Megan Wyreweden, which makes this deck one of the few books that has the artist work with writing by the artist. So Temperance, azalea, rhododendron. Temperance is about taking the middle road. Drawing this card indicates that you have achieved inner peace or are in need of it. Go with the flow, take everything in moderation, and don't stretch yourself too thin. I wish. Upright, patience, balance, moderation, taking the middle road, adaptation, self-evaluation. Reversed, lack of balance, conflict, impatience, excess, restlessness. Now for me, I always have a little bit of trouble with floral decks. If I didn't know that was Temperance, I wouldn't necessarily know what it is, and I wouldn't know how to read it. So I often have trouble with floral decks for that reason. So that's another side note. But she has very few. Like this incorporates flowers, but this is kind of a one-off in this deck. As is this lone pine tree, but this is more evocative to me, perhaps because of the night sky, and this is just a flower on a plain background. Those are quibbles. It is an exquisite deck, and the artwork, knowing that this is hand-painted artwork by the artist and who also wrote the book, it's an incredible deck. And as I said, the romance, will they find each other again? Yes, we have. We have definitely found each other again. I've gone from a good 6 months. I think I even had this out on a sales table with when I was doing readings, with my basket of other decks that are for sale. And I changed my mind. I took it back, and now we have a much better understanding together, and so romance blossoms. So I hope you've enjoyed my walkthrough of the Anima Mundi Tarot by Megan Wyreweden. A really gorgeous hand-painted deck. Thank you.